Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back with another video. Obviously, this is part 3 of my idealistic dreams for Roma. I often do these videos. I know for those who've seen my videos before, they'll know. As a fan of Italian football and Celtic FC, I have these quirky ideals and ideas. So anyway, I hope you check out parts 1 and 2 if you haven't already done so. And as ever, I welcome your appreciate, especially the latter, your views and share and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and sharing and liking the video and supporting in any way you can, including through commenting any suggestions or ideas you have or anything like that. So anyway, I think I did quite well there, not waffling too much in the intro, so I'm going to try and crack on with the video. I know I do waffle. I was thinking today, because I was talking to quite a few people, and I think I did probably bore them to death with my over talking. But anyway, cracking on. As I say, I often do these videos where I talk about 3 ideas in each video. So this is part 3, obviously. So I'm going to talk about ideas 21 through to 30. So 21, as the saying goes, 21 again. I use that number. Different numbers remind me of different things. And 21 again, I used to talk about, in this case, let's say the history of AS Roma. So I'd love for people to find out the history of AS Roma. The official name, how it came about, the history of what trophies Roma have won, or any other history and historical facts about Roma, and just general facts and figures coming from Roma. And also to recap some ideas, I had these rather grandiose ideas. I mean, part of me was thinking, I think yesterday was an election in the UK where I live, and I'm born and bred in the UK, to be honest, although I'm an Italian football fan. In the past, the Labour Party here in the UK, apparently they were going to have a bankers levy on a tax on bankers or their bonuses, and the Conservative Party accused them of trying to tax them and spend the same amount of money several times over. They said you can only spend that money once when you have it. So if it was £1 billion, for instance, you can't spend over £1 billion from that levy. So this sort of reminds me, or makes me think of my own ideas, because I talk about these ideals and imaginations, like how I'd love for certain people to own AC Milan or Inter Milan or the other Italian teams. So obviously they could only own they could only own one or co-own one, but I'd love for Alphabet, which is a parent company of Google, to invest in Serie A, Serie B, Serie C, and Serie D, which are the top sort of leagues, the top 3 or 4 leagues. I think there's Serie D as well, goes down to Serie D in Italy. I think it'd be quite a sort of irony, because obviously Serie A, B, C, and D are based, or Serie C, or whatever it's called, are based on the alphabet, I suppose. So I think it would be quite sort of fitting, if you like. But I'd especially love them to invest in AC Milan, because it's like AC Milan, so it sort of goes with my alliterations. Or it could be AS Roma as well. But yeah, the new owner of AS Roma, which is the full name of, well, it's not the full name, but it's the initial of Roma. Dan Friedkin, I think his name is also apparently big in Hollywood, as I mentioned in part 2, and has connections to Leonardo DiCaprio, Scorsese, and others. And this made me think about, it would be interesting if you could talk to those and get them into football, like a lot of Americans are getting into football, or as they call it, soccer. So I think it would be quite interesting, shall we say, if he got DiCaprio and others in Hollywood, maybe Hollywood generally, to get into football or soccer, and especially those of Italian roots, which does remind me of another idea, funny enough, talking about 21, people from the diaspora, Italian diaspora, investing in Italian clubs such as AS Roma. As a fan of Italian football generally, I would love to see them do well. This year, Roma could potentially be the only club that they are the only club that have a potential to win a trophy in Europe with the Conference League, although it is the lowest trophy in Europe, but it's still a trophy. Although I'd love to see Italian teams win like Champions League and things like that. But I would love, most of all, for Italian teams overall to win the most trophies in European or international competitions at club team level. Anyway, moving on. Number 22, I would love for AS Roma to look at what they can learn into the future. Again, I mentioned like how they could learn from teams like Real Madrid and become the new Galacticos, the Giallorossi, which is their nickname, Galacticos, only with a better defence and a better goalkeeper, which would be pretty amazing. I talked about like how my imagination runs wild with that, but yeah, how they could learn to be and to adapt in modern football. And a lot of teams are accused of like sort of living in the past or in the modern game, how to having to adapt to the modern game. And I do worry with Mourinho. Although he is a good short-term coach, I do wonder, and I do worry. Hopefully, he'll prove me wrong, but whether he will learn and adapt. I hope he'll play more young players as well as more attacking football. He's known to be a bit defensive, which is an Italian system, but I hope that he will be able to adapt to most of the teams that do well in Europe, generally speaking, are more attacking, I think, at the top level at least. So it would be good to see if he does that. But I do think although he plays a defensive system, Tammy Abrahams is playing well up front, I think, although I don't get to watch much football, but he does seem to be scoring important goals. But yeah, so I hope that the team will play younger players, develop the academies for the future, have 5 to 10 year plans. Anyone who invests in the club, any sponsors or potential new owners or managers or players or whatever, hopefully can give like their 5 to 10 year plans, especially the co-owners and people like the manager and the coaches, and talk about what they want to achieve for the club in the next 5 to 10 years and reassure the fans. And I think youth development is really important, as I talked about, like academies, including in parts of Africa and Asia and developing countries, which brings me on, moving on to number 23. I hope for AS Roma and other Italian teams possibly to work with Celtic both on and off the pitch, like training, but also to learn from other clubs about how to do stuff for charity. And I would love for them to pay the lowest possible taxes and get the most possible funding. And in return, like, hopefully they can invest in young footballers and develop and bring through young footballers and invest in like sporting entrepreneurs in places like across Asia, and also helping people from Africa and Asia to get into football, as well as Italians themselves. Especially locally. And again, I'd love to see as many co-owners and sponsors. And I forgot to mention in part 22, or point 22 rather, sorry. I would love for, as I know I mentioned this before, but I'd love for like Man City and teams like that and PSG are owned by, some people say, entire nations, and now Newcastle as well. But I'd love for Roma to be owned by not just one nation, but whole groups of nations, even like just as many co-owners as possible from Hollywood, possibly Bollywood in India, and Nollywood in Nigeria, that could work on improving relations between Italians and Africans or the Black Diaspora or African Diaspora through football and things like that. So I'd love for them to do charitable work, including helping disabled people with physical, mental and cerebral or learning disabilities all around the world. And that sort of thing. Number 24, as I've often mentioned before, again, sorry for being so repetitive, but I would love for Italians to get behind each other's teams when they're playing non-Italian teams. So hopefully as many Italians as possible, as many people of Italian descent and that sort of thing, even people who perhaps like AC Milan or Inter Milan or Juventus. It would be hard to see Lazio fans, but I think when they play against each other, they should be rivals. But when they're playing non-Italian teams, I think they should get behind each other. And again, as Roma is sort of, I suppose, probably named after Rome, kind of, or the Italian version of Rome or whatever. I think that it would be great for the Italian government itself, politicians and even the government itself and local councillors to invest in the team, and Italians perhaps to donate to like helping to build academies, to donate to their local club. Obviously, Lazio fans would probably donate to their club as well. But yeah, so it would be great for them to have maybe be owned by the Italian government, like and as many Italian politicians to invest in the club and also to invest in their local clubs. And again, people of Italian descent perhaps donating to like help the club to buy new players, but also to develop the youth, so that can hopefully benefit both the national team and Roma. Number 25, I would love for Roma to have good relations with republics around the world, obviously not just Italy, but from across Africa, as well as the work they do with migrants and improving relations and condemning racism or prejudice amongst their fans. And again, like, it'd be great for instance, if Africans or people from the Black Diaspora as well invest in Roma. Hopefully that can also improve relations between Roma and people from the Black Diaspora or African Diaspora, whichever term for people like Dangote from Nigeria, or Tony Elumelu from, I think, Ghana or Nigeria. I think he's from Nigeria too, and people like that, and from Kenya and different places like that. So again, they could also have academies in their home countries, like if Dangote or people like that, or Tony Elumelu, if I pronounce his name right. Sorry if I butchered his name. I hope he forgives me if he ever sees these videos, but I doubt it, but I might dream it. Anyway, they could have academies, and if they invested in the club and had shares in the club, they could buy Roma academies in Nigeria or Ghana or Kenya or other part of Africa. Number 26, I think it'd be great for the club to also, as well as other Italian clubs, to give back to some of the countries that Italy colonized in the past, like Eritrea, Tunisia, Ethiopia, and places like that, like to invest in their, to build academies and to train their young people in business and technology and STEM generally, as I mentioned before. Number 27, I think it'd be great to have, like, if Roma had like its list of top heroes of the club, and people who have contributed to youth development, or sponsored the club, or invested in the club, or helped to coach the youth, or whatever. Like, so if Mourinho does win a trophy in his first season, I think Roma haven't won in Europe for 30 years or something like that. So it would be great if they had some sort of honour and that sort of thing for him, giving him an honour. Sorry, like it could be like its own, just like Hollywood. They could have like the Walk of Fame. They could also have like the Hall of Fame and the Wall of Fame and things like that, which could acknowledge different things. As again, like people who have developed the youth, coaches, managers, and whatever. This video has gone a bit long. I do apologise again, but yeah, I did want to cover the ideas in detail. Number 28, again, hopefully, if they do win this year, hopefully this can be the start of something bigger, and hopefully next season maybe even do well in Champions League, maybe even win it by some miracle. But again, like having as much investment as possible and looking for the long term as well, and hopefully turning some of the negative situations into positives, and again, solving problems facing the world, like climate change, global warming, and things like that. Number 29, I would love for my fellow Anglo-Indians and dyslexics to show what we can contribute to teams like AS Roma and other Italian teams as well as Celtic. And number 30, as ever, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and apologies if I did waffle a bit. And I'd love to know what your least and most favourite ideas are, or what you would love to see for the club if you're a Roma fan, or any other thing you want to comment. And I am out. Peace and love.